And welcome everybody to Regents Field for the Michigan Women Hockey Coaches Show. We want to thank you very much for Coach Tribbiano for being here today. Thank you to Regents Field for allowing us to be here. We are very, very grateful. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the game versus Niagara that happened this past Sunday. We'll talk a little bit about an upcoming surprise for this Friday, which will be great. But we want to start everything off by talking about rankings and taking a look. The first rankings just came out for the ACHA. Liberty is number 1. That's not a huge surprise. Midland's number 2. Adrian's number 3. And Michigan is checking in at number 4. We'll just go through really quickly the top 10. Marysville is number 5. Jamestown is number 6. McKendree is number 7. Indiana Tech is number 8. Arizona State is number 9. And Minot State is number 10. So it's early, right? And we really don't know how good teams are until more teams play each other. But how do you think 4 feels? Does 4 feel fairly fair at this point?
I think, given the fact that we're 6-0, for me, I think it's a fair ranking. I'm excited that we're in the top 10. I had a feeling we'd be in the top 10. Top 5 is great, but like you said, it is early, so we've just got to continue to prove ourselves. We're off this weekend, technically, with ACHA games, so it'll be interesting to see how things shift around.
Absolutely.
Especially with us having a bye week. But we obviously have a big weekend in St. Louis coming up, so I'm excited for that.
Do you have like a goal as far as like what you want at the end of the season? I mean, it'd be great to be number 1, but do you like want to be top 5 or anything like that? Like, do you have a goal?
Yeah, I mean, last year, we were number 6 most of the season, and then at the end dropped down to number 9. My personal goal is to end up in the top 5. So I really like where we're at now. We've just got to continue to win.
Absolutely.
We have some really strong competition coming up, so we've got to make sure the team's prepared, ready to go.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about Niagara. So start off with a fantastic number 4 ranking. This past Sunday, Michigan took on the Niagara Purple Eagles at Yost Ice Arena. And I just want to say before we get into it, I actually arrived at the same time as the Niagara bus, and it was really kind of cool to walk in with some of the Niagara players and have them see Yost and just kind of get that little gasp and like, oh my gosh, this is nice. And it's so cool to get to see that. Do you ever like check out teams when they first hit the ice and kind of see like their reaction to the building and things of that nature?
I don't know. Usually we were in the South locker room the varsity visitors room for most of our games. So I usually come in that backside check-in with our players and with the coaching staff before coming to the front. But every team wants to play us at Yost.
Yes, absolutely.
So the scheduling is difficult, obviously, in the summer just because we don't know the varsity men's schedule until
absolutely.
I mean, this year I think it was August. It was very late August when it came out. So that's why we get a lot of ice time on Sundays because typically, most often, they play Friday, Saturday. So
absolutely. Most
teams want to play us at Yost. The best times to do that are usually a Thursday or a Sunday because that's when we know we can probably get ice.
Definitely.
But we do have an advantage because it is something that draws people to us. In terms of the competition, and it's just such a unique experience with the windows and a lot of the places that we play, especially at some of the smaller programs, they have newer facilities or they're in facilities that are shared with, other club programs. So for us to be able to use an athletics facility that's really well maintained by the facility staff is really special.
And we've all spent those tournaments where you're inside and all of a sudden you go outside, you're like, oh my gosh, there's light out here. So Yost is something special, and if you go to mainly the NCAA games, you don't get to see that light pouring in. But on a Sunday afternoon, it's wonderful. It's a great place. It's always great, but especially seeing it in a different light. No pun intended. So looking back at the Niagara game, there was not any scoring until late at the first. At the 18:34 mark, Lucy Hansen scored her 4th goal of the season. And it was started by a great forecheck by Hung, who stole away a puck and pass, got it right to Hansen, who took it on the near circle, skated in it, and put in a beautiful shot. Adley had no chance on the save. I know you were playing a little bit with the lines, kind of tweaking the line combinations. Was there anything you came away learning from those tweaks, or any new combinations you're excited about?
Yeah, so one of the players that we moved was Ava Hung, and we moved some right wingers around.
Yeah.
So it was really neat to see her having an impact on a new line that she had been practicing with, and then obviously capitalizing on a scoring opportunity.
Absolutely.
So rewatching that goal back again, Ava Hung did a really great job angling that player, forced the defenseman to make a mistake, and then she then took the puck, saw Lucy was coming, passed it right to Hansen, and then Hansen obviously capitalized. So that was really cool to see that combination sort of working in real time together.
Absolutely.
We see it in practice, but to see it in a game setting where there's a lot of pressure to score the first goal.
Definitely.
It was really exciting. And with some of the other line combinations we have too, we're seeing a lot of positive things and some new creativity that we hadn't had for the first 5 games of the season, so we're really excited to continue to build on that.
It's tough because you almost have a plethora of centers, having both Cummings who can play center as well as also opportunity, and I'm totally blanking, but yeah, a bunch of Gordon doing center as well, and,
yes.
and things. So it's nice to have that ability for people to take face-offs when you need it and win them.
Yes, we've got a lot of center people. So Cummings we had her at center. And we had Gordon at left wing, so we moved Gordon to center, moved Cummings to left wing, and we think that might elevate that line a little bit. Not that they weren't necessarily producing, but to have Cummings maybe more in a position where she can capitalize offensively because she is very skilled.
Absolutely.
And Gordon's just such a competitor and is willing to separate players from the puck at whatever cost. And on right wing on that line, we've got Jesse Simmer, who's probably our best right winger. He's very, very
Indeed.
great at getting the puck out of the zone when we need to.
Definitely.
Reliable penalty killer, so we really feel like that line is going to bring a veteran presence. So, I mean, we have 4 really solid lines that we don't have a first line, we don't have a second line. We have 4 very solid lines we feel very comfortable with, which is exciting as a coach.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What a bonus, what a benefit to just have the ability to have that many folks producing and working hard.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely wonderful. The next goal came at 7:29 in the second when Hansen got her 5th goal of the season. She took a shot from the near on the near circle, and the rebound came right back out to her in the slot, and she just beautiful patience, just waited and slid a little bit to her right, found an opening and fired it in. That was a fantastic goal. Now this game, it was kind of a little bit the usual suspects where your top 2 scorers both got goals. Hansen got a goal as well as coming in, seeing Swanson getting a goal. Are you surprised with someone like Hansen, who's new to the team, really being able to get goals early, or is that something that you kind of expected, seeing some of these new players with the amount of skill they have coming in?
With Hansen, we sort of expected that. She's been on campus since January of this year, and she skated with us, but was not rostered with us, so she didn't play in any ACHA games with us last season. But just with her background, coming from Minnesota, coming from a really strong program in Benilde, and then obviously playing at Franklin Pierce, which is NCAA Division I.
Indeed.
And then coming to Michigan, we knew she was going to have a very positive impact on our team, and she's very offensive-minded, loves to shoot the puck, which is great because we've struggled with that in the past.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, definitely.
We knew she was going to be impactful to our program. She's also somebody that loves to contribute off the ice, too. She's always like, Coach, what do you need? How can I help? Which is great because, obviously, with our program, we need a lot of support. So,
absolutely.
With her, I'm glad that she's contributing early. That's always a great start. And, I think with the changing of the line combinations, so Matthews is centering that line. We've got Hansen on the left wing, so she's a right-handed player. She's on her off wing. We're hoping that's going to bring some offensive opportunities for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's fantastic. Speaking of, Michigan finished off the scoring towards the end of the second when Lindahl threaded a pass over to Malashevsky, and Adley was able to save that goal for Malashevsky, but the rebound popped off to her left, and Swanson was able to just tip it in. Great play, great pass. Overall, like I was saying earlier, it's been kind of the usual suspects in the last game, but your scoring has been spread out over 12 different players getting a goal so far. Are you happy with that? Do you want a little bit more spread out? Is it nice to get scoring from a lot of different areas?
Yeah, I think anytime you have everybody on the ice, all 6 players on the ice contributing, obviously goaltenders making saves, big stops, contribute to the momentum that we need to capitalize during every game. So Swanson last year, again, she was part of that line where we were trying to figure out, okay, where does she fit in?
Yeah.
We have a lot of talent. We need to figure out how these players work together. So that Malashevsky line, we haven't touched it. So we've got Julia on the right wing.
Yep.
Malashevsky center, Swanson on the left wing, and that's also part of our power play 1 unit. So, I mean, Swanson's a grinder. She's not afraid to throw her body around and go to the dirty areas of the ice, which I love, and I respect that because I was sort of that player as well.
Absolutely.
And she's super strong, and she's just a competitor. So I'm not really surprised, but I'm glad that we've been able to have contributors from our top players last year as well as our new players. So the expectation is that anybody can really score and anybody can produce, and that's how we're sort of operating in our bench management.
Now, is there someone you're seeing in practice who's just lighting up in practice? You're seeing them doing really well in the game, but they just haven't gotten that puck luck yet. Is there anyone who you think that first goal of the season is coming pretty soon? Or
yeah, I think we've got some defensemen that haven't scored yet.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens soon. But I think the biggest one was Sam Carr, because in practice she's so skilled in a game too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But her first goal was probably one of the most beautiful goals we've seen. So
definitely,
that was really exciting for her. So yeah, we're excited.
I feel like Hung is going to get a goal really soon too, as she has great stick handling, has been in a lot of places,
yes,
and just hasn't gotten that puck luck yet. So I think it's going to happen very soon as well, I believe. So
yeah, I think so too. She's somebody that, having played at Big B and then high school hockey, every practice we're seeing her get stronger and more comfortable, and she's one of the strongest skaters that we have on the team. So really every practice, every game, every shift, we're seeing her grow into that role, especially after we've mixed up the lines a little bit. So it's really exciting, and I'm excited to see her first goal.
And I've noticed there's been a lot of great forecheck, and the offense has really chimed in on the defense well. Obviously, is that something you stress a lot, trying to make sure that the offense doesn't just get focused on scoring and really comes back and makes those defensive efforts and tries to do the forecheck? And
yeah, at the end of the day, it's a 200-foot game, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We need to protect the house. We need to protect our goaltender, whether it's Poneth or Johns. Protect them and then build from the net out. If we don't protect the house, we're not going to win a game at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And we focus on 20 minutes at a time. So yeah, we have to play well defensively. A couple of years ago we were giving up a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And that's not really acceptable anymore. So we need to protect the house, and then those offensive opportunities will come, and then we need to capitalize on them.
Absolutely. So in the third period was scoreless, giving Michigan a 3-0 lead. This was Poneth's first shutout of the season. She had 8 shutouts last season, which that's going to be a really hard number to top. As it starts to get late in the third period, do you change, or does the team kind of change their focus at all to try and help get that shutout? Is that something you mention on the bench, or is it just like us in the broadcast booth didn't want to say the word? And
you don't say the word.
Yep.
Can't say it.
Yep.
That's really important. But everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's been in situations like this, and then if you do say it, it usually doesn't happen. So you don't say it. But at the end of the day, we have to protect the house. And with how the rankings are calculated, and especially in CCWHA standings, every goal counts, and goal differential is taken into consideration. So at the end of the game, we need to win the period, so we need to score more goals than them. Obviously, nobody scored any goals, but yeah, it's a numbers game. That's what the rankings is.
Definitely.
But yeah, we don't say the word.
That makes sense.
But
I don't want to. And Coach Ned and I were very, very careful not to say it. So, yeah, absolutely. Last thing I want to do is be responsible for jinxing.
Well, thank you.
Anything.
Thank you.
So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sandy knows where to find me if I ever mess that up. So, she's a lot tougher than I am. On the calendar, it's an off week. But tell us about what's happening this Friday over at Yost.
yes, we've got some ice. Unable to fill it with an ACHA opponent just because we found out about the men's schedule.
Sure,
very late, the men's Big Ten schedule. So we're going to be hosting a scrimmage from 7 to 8:20 p.m. on Friday, November 3rd.
Fantastic.
Against the Grand Rapids Griffins 19U Tier 2 team.
Nice.
So that is the program that Powers and Johns came from.
Excellent.
Last year. They're really solid, and they also have a couple players that are applying to Michigan too, so it's going to be an exciting matchup, and we're going to use it in preparation for our weekend in St. Louis.
Fantastic.
Especially after only having one game in 16 days,
Yeah,
I think it was.
Definitely, yeah.
I really felt the need, like we had to get on the ice again, get the legs back up to speed. We've obviously got the football game on Saturday, so Sunday was sort of a no-go. So we just wanted to get something quickly in on Friday, and I think it'll go really well.
Is that open to the public so
Yes.
the public can come and see it? So,
Yep.
So you got an opportunity because otherwise, if you don't come out to that game, Michigan's not going to be back at Yost until they play Rhode Island, and that's going to be back in January. So come on out this Friday, 7 o'clock, or I believe it was December 4th. There's going to be a charity game as they're playing the old Puckers. We'll do our best to broadcast both. I know we're going to broadcast Friday, and we should be able to broadcast the 4th as well. And Coach Ned has been very kind to join us up in the booth for those. So we're looking forward to that. But get a chance and check out the team at Yost because, again, you won't have an opportunity. There'll be a big downtime. Now, is there any rules about when you can schedule like scrimmages like that? Is it something like you could? I know there's a big break during winter. Could you do something like that before the Rhode Island game coming back, or what are the rules like on that?
So rules for ACHA and USA Hockey, which are our governing bodies.
Yep.
Basically, I need to send the other team's roster to our commissioner.
Okay.
And she has to approve it. So that needs to be sent, I think, at least 2 weeks in advance.
Sure.
I think the rule technically is. And then it needs approval. But we've scrimmaged like the Bell Tire senior team in the past. And that's a little different because they're all over 19.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas this is a little different because it's still a youth team that's governed by USA Hockey. But in terms of rules, realistically, we could get one in before Rhode Island. But with the academic calendar, it might be really tough.
That's fair. That's fair.
And me personally, my philosophy, I don't want to monopolize any time that players are spending with family.
That makes perfect
or
sense.
taking an academic break. So we try to follow the academic calendar the best we can. Unfortunately, for the hockey side of things, we're starting school a week later than we typically do. So we're essentially losing a weekend that we could potentially play. But, with the game against Rhode Island, my hope is that maybe people will get back and they'll go to Rusty Barbell and get reacclimated to being at school.
Fantastic.
And then we'll have a really strong showing on that Sunday.
So, because obviously, especially with this team, the academics come first, and that's the most important thing. And it's not like it's easy to be a Michigan student, so they definitely need time to work on that. So that is wonderful. Anything else you want to mention at this point?
I know last time we talked about underground printing.
Yes.
So I wanted to mention that again. I didn't bring. Coach Joe has all the stuff that we bring to the games, but. I just wanted to mention that link again, so we can blast that out.
Absolutely.
But they have some really great stuff on there. It's print to ship, so if you order it, they'll print it, they'll ship it directly to your house, and that's great because then we don't have to handle it.
Definitely, yeah. You don't have to go to the rink to pick it up or anything; it go right to you.
Yep. So, we've got the scrimmage on Friday, but we've got a really big weekend coming up.
Definitely.
Not this weekend, but next weekend in St. Louis. And I've been in contact with the Michigan alumni group that's in St. Louis, so I'm hoping we can get together with them.
Fantastic.
We're thinking we'll watch the football game against Penn State, and that will start, I think it's a noon game, so it'll start at 11 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
And that's a later game because that's a 9 o'clock game that Saturday night, right?
Yeah, so I think it's a 9 o'clock Eastern start, but it'll be 8 o'clock Central Time. So I'm hoping that works out with them, but we've still got to finalize the itinerary and everything.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's always exciting when we travel and trying to get out and see things, and doing things as a team is really important too, because I think sometimes we get so focused on the academics.
Yes.
That we sort of lose sight as, we are a hockey team, and what we do off the ice translates to our on-ice performance. So we're hoping to build a little bit of that into our itinerary for St. Louis.
Now, St. Louis is where Nationals are at. Is there any scouting the rink or anything like that you want to do for Nationals that you just kind of want to get a feel for anything going out there? Hopefully to return later in the spring.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting. I've never been to this rink yet, or I haven't been there yet, I should say. So I'm excited to see it. I've heard it's a really nice facility.
Yeah.
It's also nice that there are quite a few ACHA women's D1 teams in the area.
Yes.
And they're all pretty strong. So I'm excited for the weekend. But yeah, we've got our scrimmage on Friday to prepare, and then there's obviously the football game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely feeling like fall weather. I think it snowed yesterday.
November 1st, there was a little snow. Of course, the kids can't do trick-or-treating without snow in Michigan.
Yep.
So, and it'll be exciting to get out there. If you are out St. Louis, not this weekend, but next weekend, please come out and see. There's the game is at, I think, 1 o'clock Central on Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. Then it's a later game on Saturday. And this will be great because last time we were out there, it was Lindenwood Belleville. And they played in what was a nice rink, but it was literally a warehouse that someone had there was someone who sold carpets. They had their carpet, and then they had the ice rink right next to that. I don't know if you remember that. And they had a little like a platform that we could be up there. It was a beautiful use of space, but not your traditional ice rink that you think of.
Yeah, I felt like, did they call it the Shark Tank? Does that sound right?
Yes, okay. The Shark Tank. You were well done. Good job. Nice memory. Nice memory.
I remember that trip because last time I was there was my birthday, and then I had flown in because I had to work, so I took like the quick flight to St. Louis, got in my Lyft, and the Lyft driver kept missing the exit for the hotel, and the bus was already about to leave. Like I had 10-15 minutes turnaround time, and he kept missing the exit, and we finally got off at the right exit. I go to the hotel, I saw the team president, she handed me like half a sandwich, and then I come out and everybody's gone. And I see the bus pulling out, like it's already like about to like turn down the service drive.
Oh man!
So I just started running and I took off after it. So I remember that trip. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now McKendree plays at the same place, so that'll still be at the McKendree Sports Rec, and hopefully. If I remember rightly, we had a player who had to make a quick run to the
So I missed that game because I went to the emergency room.
There you go. Okay, I did not remember it was you, so sorry about that. But we're hopefully that doesn't happen this time.
No coffee from the hotel. That's a new rule.
There you go. Okay.
No coffee on the bus from the hotel.
Fair enough. That makes perfect sense.
It gets too hot. Yeah.
All right. So anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap things up?
No, just thanks for Regents Field. Thanks to you all. Thanks, Coach Ned's here. So he's eating the salad. So I'm excited. But yeah, just thanks everybody so far for their support this season.
Definitely.
Obviously, the first ranking came out, but it's a reflection on the support from the community and everybody that sort of helped us get to this point, because we really have to do everything ourselves. So everybody plays a part, and I just want everybody to know that. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And again, get out to Regents Field. We'll be here next week, Wednesday, 6 o'clock. We will preview and go over Lindenwood as well as McKendree. So check that out. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you at Yost on Friday, 7 o'clock.